Not super disturbing, but it was still quite crazy at the time. So backstory is my aunt got pregnant very young, 16, and my Catholic grandparents were trying to get her to marry the father, but his parents wouldn't have it. So my aunt was told she needed to be sent away to have the child, and either my grandparents would bring up as their own, or it was to be adopted out. She went away to this place where young pregnant women go until she had the baby, and at her decision, it was adopted out. Fast forward a long time later when my dad and all his siblings are since married with kids and the adopted baby is now an adult and decides to find out who her real parents are, and she gets in touch with my aunt. So when I was age 14, I find out I have a cousin Karen who is older and has 3 kids of her own, and she is welcomed back into the family, and her children and now grandchildren are all still a part of the extended family. What I always found most crazy is that my aunt went on to get married and have 3 more kids who she did bring up. And when Karen came back into her life, she is the most like her. They have the same mannerisms. She looks the most like my aunt. The way she talks and everything is so like my aunt, more so than my other cousins, even though she was brought up by adopted parents. Story 36. My dad got remarried when I was 8 or 9, and my stepmom had a kid almost exactly a year younger than me. Around a year after they got married, stepmom sat me down to tell me that her son's bio dad had killed himself recently. She explained that her son knew he died, but didn't know it was died, and I'm not supposed to say anything about it in front of him. I was supposed to stick to the story that bio dad was cleaning a gun and it accidentally discharged and killed him. That lie lasted for a few months, and finally one of his cousins told my stepbrother the truth. My stepmom put up pictures of the dead dad and made a big deal about it. I had never heard anything about him prior to this, and my stepbrother didn't even seem to really know him. Around 15 years later, I found out that the guy who died was not my stepbrother's bio dad. He was actually stepmom's best friend that signed the birth certificate because she didn't want actual bio dad's name on it. Bio dad is very much alive, and stepmom continued hooking up with him throughout her marriage to my dad. Consensual non-monogamy as far as I understand. I was told that the primary reason they committed to the lie was to collect Social Security payments from my stepbrother while he was a minor. My dad died 10 years ago shortly after divorcing stepmom, and my stepbrother is in his mid-30s, and I have no idea if he knows the truth, but I haven't talked to him in a really long time. Story 37.